All right, Mr. Nader, you have something to say, I'm sure.
Yes, the Nader Gonzalez Independent Campaign for Presidency is protesting before the American Petroleum Institute today, which is a trade association for the big oil companies, the skyrocketing price of gasoline and home heating fuel oil. It's important to note that the price that Americans are charged for gasoline at the pump has no relation to supply and demand. It is driven by the speculators and the hedge fund operators through the New York Mercantile Exchange and other speculative trading exchanges without any federal regulation. Give you an example. In January 2007, the price of crude oil per barrel was $50. It has today just hit an all-time high of $129 a barrel. Now that has nothing to do with supply and demand, because since last year, demand for energy in the United States has fallen, since last year, demand for petroleum has fallen 1%, and worldwide demand has gone up 1.3%. So we're no longer talking about supply-demand, we're talking about unregulated speculation in the price of oil per barrel that is costing Americans tens of billions of dollars a year, and driving small business into the ground, especially the trucking industry, all the while that the Bush regime, marinated in oil, is not protecting the American people, but leaving the American people defenseless. Now, what's surprising about this is back in the 60s and 70s, if a fraction of these prices were going up, there would be rigorous congressional investigations. They'd haul up the oil company executives, subject them to grilling, cross-examination, and propose more tough regulations and more tough antitrust breakup of the oil company. We have no oil policy in this country to protect the American people. The government is leaving the American people defenseless, and the price is skyrocketing with no seeming end. It's driven not by supply and demand, but by unregulated speculators on Wall Street. What do we do about it? The Nader Gonzalez campaign proposes three major positions. One, we have to enforce the antitrust laws against the giant oil companies and their collusion on refinery capacity, which drives prices up. Second, we have to eliminate all subsidies, direct and indirect, to the fossil fuel industry and turn these tens of billions of dollars into energy efficiency programs and public mass transit. And thirdly, we need to eliminate the speculation with the necessity of life, which petroleum is for the time being, by closing down the commodity futures activity on all mercantile exchanges, so that the price of oil is driven by supply-demand under antitrust regulation and not by speculation that has no reality to the physical world, except to increase the benefits from the greed of the speculators at the cost of the American worker, American consumer, and small business.